First impressions on the WO9?
Well, the first impressions is that it looks very much like the WO8
I knew you were going to say that.
Converted for the new regulation. So, we have the halo, you have the truncated shark fin. Wheelbase is the same, which everyone's talking about. The rake hasn't changed massively. So, on first impressions, we think, well, what's changed? But I think the whole point is they haven't had to change a lot. They've just had to work on the nature of the car, which was the biggest problem for them through 2017.
Yeah, Valtteri Bottas has been saying for a while that the new car is going to have a bigger sweet spot and he's going to be able to adapt his style in a more facilitated way. He didn't actually use that word, of course. That's kind of what he was saying. And I asked Lewis what impact that would have on him, on the basis that it's helping Valtteri a little bit more with setup. What's it going to do for him? This is what Lewis said.
It's a car that we've both pushed and developed through the year last year. So what we see today is an evolution of both of our driving DNA fused into one. And yeah, I mean, I hope that he's more comfortable in it today. That can only bode well for the team. It's definitely not moved any away from me. I'm very, very close to my engineers, and I'm very much on top of that. So. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and the car's obviously going to be quicker this year, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on with it. Looking
at the car, as we say, a lot of the aero bodywork will change through testing and before Melbourne, so we can kind of discount it, but it's the same complex stuff that we've had all along. Rear suspension's different, and as we understand, as Lewis was commenting during the press conference, that the front suspension's changed, how the roll sensors are and how it all works. At the rear wishbone has been repositioned slightly. You can see the back leg of it's actually raised high up, and the exhaust actually has to literally step over this rear wishbone mount, which plays with things like the anti-squat settings, so when the car accelerates, the back doesn't squash down too much. And speaking to James Allison, he was kind of dismissive that it's not all about suspension, but the problem Mercedes were having last year wasn't what the car wasn't quick, it just was very hard to get a balance. So as the car moves up and down, the centre of pressure and the downforce is changing, and all of the work, it appears to be over the winter, the lion's share of that is trying to get rid of that ability of the car just to change in balance slightly through the lap. And that's partly suspension, it's partly by making slightly more benign aerodynamics. It is all of this little detail work that they've really had to be working on to get this car, get the diva-ness out of the car, as they were describing it last year, and to get it to work. And with that, and with obviously the updated aero that will appear, there's no reason this car won't be the quickest thing out there.